Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who has joined. And thank you for joining the webinar on troubleshooting iVend retail and providing level 1 and level 2 support. My name is Samir Batra and I'm the head of support at CityAccess. On popular demand, we will first have a quick recap of yesterday's session and then we will move on to the agenda for today. We are confident that after attending these sessions, you will be able to troubleshoot and attend customer queries and reduce the turnaround time. After this session, we will be having a question and answer session, and we will also be delivering you a detailed troubleshooting guide through email. So let's start with the topics we are covering today. The agenda for today is a quick recap for first two issues that were covered. Those were covered yesterday. One is stock transfer related issues at iVend and ERP. The second one is price management and we will check if the prices are missing at store, HO or SAP. The third one is
Samir, your screen is not showing. Maybe you have to press the play button. Yes, this is going. Very good. Thank you. Yes, it's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Keep going. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep on.
So the third issue is iVend with SAP integrated environment preparation and restoration. The fourth one is product and customer management. So let's hop on to the next slide. Okay. Now the first issue is stock transfer related issues at iVend and ERP. So ERP could be any ERP, whether it is SAP B1, R3, S4 HANA Retail, or Sage or Microsoft Dynamics Navision 365 or earlier versions. So there could be a case where a customer has created a stock transfer and it has reached the receiving store, but they are unable to receive it. Reason? Insufficient quantity in the in-transit warehouse. So we will provide you the steps and share the details with you, that is how to basically debug or check these kind of issues before reporting it to CityAccess support. Okay. Now the first step, you need to go to the warehouse, connect to the warehouse that is on a particular store MC, and check if in that in-transit warehouse, okay, suppose I will take an example. Suppose you have created a stock transfer with a receipt number ABC that is having a single product XYZ. Okay. Now, when that stock transfer was created, one quantity moved to in-transit. Now, if you go to the in-transit warehouse of the receiving store, that in-transit warehouse should be having that one quantity in stock and in available quantity. If these quantities are not available, then the customer will not be able to receive the stock transfer. There could be n number of reasons why the in-transit is not there. There could be something like replication skipped that particular inventory log or inventory movement to the receiving store. So this is the first place where you will check whether the in-transit inventory is available or not. Then post this, you will check the inventory view of the store from where the stock transfer was created. Or you can also check if the stock transfer, when the stock transfer was created and when it reached HO, what is the in-transit status at the HO. If in-transit quantity is available at HO but not at the receiving store, then it is a pure case of replication skipping where the logs could not reach the receiving store and update the inventory accordingly. So a sync up between HO and the receiving store in this case will resolve the issue. But these are the basic steps that you need to check in order to verify why this error is coming. Apart from this, uh, when a stock transfer is created in an integrated mode, when I say integrated mode, you can always also use the term plugged. When iVend is running in plugged mode with a specific ERP, whether it is SAP B1, Sage, or any other, then whatever document that is getting created in iVend, when the stock transfer gets created in a particular store, immediately that particular stock transfer document gets integrated into, in this case, as our screen shows, with the SAP B1. So as soon as the stock transfer gets integrated into the SAP B1, immediately uh, that inventory is moved to in transit in SAP also. So here in this screen, you can just check it out whether the document has been posted successfully in SAP B1 or any other ERP or not, which you are familiar with. So if the document would have successfully integrated into the SAP B1, that is the ERP, then in transit quantity over here, that is the on hand column, that will get incremented to 1 in this case for in transit warehouse. So here in this case, the on hand column present in SAP B1 is equivalent to the in stock and available quantity column of iVend. The other thing is you need to check the inventory audit report. That inventory audit report basically works on the concept of inventory logs. Those are getting generated in iVend. Also to add, the iVend architecture design is like we don't update the headers, inventory headers directly. Reason behind that technical, the technical reason behind that is it creates deadlock in a distributed environment. So we generate a log, and then that log is responsible to update the inventory header. So whenever you are viewing inventory audit report, it will provide you a detailed view in an ascending order that what happened to the inventory for a particular product on a particular date, step by step basis. So you could consider it as suppose when you initiated when you initialize your system for the first time for a particular product, let's say XYZ, the inventory was 100, and today the inventory is uh, the available quantity is 10, then there will be uh, some entries in the inventory log. Suppose every time 10 quantity was sold at POS terminal, so there will be 9 times. So 9 into 10, that is 90, and the actual quantity, available quantity was 100. So 100 minus 90, according to logs, the 10 is the balance. So this is the way things work in iVend. Further to this, uh, the system also could display batch or serial errors in regard to the stock transfers. So in iVend, like we have a normal item that is non-batch tracked or non-serial tracked. So for both of them also, the purpose is the same. If the item is a batch track, it is mapped to a particular warehouse, to a particular product, and with a specific batch number that is unique in combination. So you always need to check whether that batch is having sufficient quantity in the in-transit warehouse when it is getting received or not. The next error is stock transfer again, and the error code is item not found. Now, these errors are quite descriptive, and most of the time they are self-explanatory also. So if you check over here, it clearly shows that item not found product, okay, in the warehouse this. So there could be a reason that when the stock transfer was created, okay, that particular inventory item or a batch track item or a serial tracked item, those inventory items are not available at the receiving store. There could be issue related to the integration if the stock transfer is created in SAP B1 or any other ERP and not in iVend. So there could be the integration issue that the document has reached iVend, but the other records related to the inventory, that is normal inventory items that we store in INV inventory item, and the batch information and the serial information never reached iVend. So it could be an integration issue, but if you are running an unplugged environment and you have done a GR, a good receipt, or a goods issue on another warehouse, and those effects have not get replicated to other store, okay, then the batch number and the serial number could be missing at the receiving store. Then only you will get this type of error, or it could be the case that a product master is missing at the receiving store. So again, you need to go to the management console, go to the administration, retail configuration, warehouse, and you need to first check what is the in-transit warehouse, and then you need to check the inventory of that particular product, whether it is available in the in-transit again or not. So let me go back a step back in regard to the in-transit. So in case of stock transfer, whenever you create a stock transfer, it goes to the in-transit. Whenever you receive it, it receives from the in-transit, not from the warehouse where it gets initiated. Same is the case with major ERPs, that is SAP B1 or any other ERP. So the functioning is almost the same on which iVend is also designed. So moving on to the third step. So now you have to search for the inventory in the product. That is again same. Okay. Once you have validated that everything is fine in regard to the product in iVend, then you need to check if the stock transfer was created in SAP B1. In this case, then you need to check the item master data, that uh, whether it is up to the mark in SAP B1 or not. There could be some cases that the product is logged in SAP B1, so you need to unlock that product sometimes in order to resolve the issue. So in this case also, if you see, the screen clearly shows that the in-transit quantity is having no value in the on-hand column. So that is the reason the stock transfer is unable to receive. So in order to unlock the field, we just need to uh, click this checkbox and save the screen on SAP B1. Immediately when you click on save, an integration event is raised, and through integration service, iVend gets updated at HO first, and through HO, a replication event is generated and it reaches to all other stores to update themselves, and post which, if you click on stock transfer to be received, it will get received automatically. And a GR document will also get generated in the form of a PDF that the customer can either print or save it on his machine. The third issue again is related to the stock transfer, and this is related to object reference is not set to an instance of an object. So let me explain you why this particular, because this is something that is pure technical, but I will explain you why this kind of particular error message is popping up on the screen, on the red band. Suppose you created a stock transfer at a particular store that needs to be received at another store. So when you're creating the stock transfer, okay, it creates internally a packet. Suppose the header will be a stock transfer detail, when it was created, from which particular warehouse to which particular warehouse. Then there will be certain line items that those could be either batch tracked, serial tracked, or a normal item. Okay, it will be having certain columns like how much quantity, should be transferred, and blah blah blah. The next step will be of creating, the third step will be of creating the packet will be, if there are any batch track or serial tracked items in the line level, then those batches information are internally stored in separate tables, and serial information is also stored in a separate table. So finally, when you create a stock transfer, multiple replication events get generated and integration events also do get generated. So once they reach the receiving warehouse that is attached to a particular store, if that data packet is not in proper format when when the stock transfer was created, it will never get received. It has to be in the proper format at the receiving end. The data packet should be in proper format, then only it can be received. When I say data format, you don't need to indulge in any kind of technical activity in the back end. I'm just using this phrase data packet because the whole packet that was created when the stock transfer was getting created, the same way it should get, the same format should be available, then only it can be received. If the header and line level details are available, but detailed batch level information or serial information is missing, then also you won't be able to receive the stock transfer. So in that case, you don't have any other choice but uh, to run some reports in the background, whether those batches, serial, or inventory items or products are available in the receiving store or not. If they are not available, at that point of time, you have to ask City Access support to basically do a manual sync up. I think this is all for this particular error that I have explained. So now I will move to another error. Okay. The fourth issue again is related to the stock transfer. That is nothing but a duplicate stock transfer. And to provide you some more information in this regard, in the next future version that we are coming up with, we have already taken care of this particular issue. So in the next version, you might not face this situation, this issue anymore. But in the current latest and stable release that is available in the market, that is 6.5 update 6 patch 2, in that also we have made a provision that restricts uh, creating duplicate stock transfer. But in case if the customer is working in a plugged or integrated mode with any of the ERPs that uses multiple columns to basically uh, integrate data with iVend, in those cases, you might face situation that a duplicate stock transfer might get created. So there are some standard queries that we do write to basically check the duplicacy. The most common thing is that there is a stock transfer with the same request number but two different primary keys. So in this case, a stock transfer with the same request number was created twice. Okay, so the best thing to overcome this situation is that you do a inventory reversal for the duplicate one. So when you have to do a inventory reversal, there are two ways. The first one is the functional and the most easiest one. That is, suppose two stock transfers were created, okay, and I will take just two examples. The first example is, first was the original one and the second one was a duplicate copy of the earlier one. Now, this one was never received at the receiving store, but it is still, but the store manager is telling you that it is a duplicate stock transfer. So in that case, you have to do nothing but cancel it from the originating store, and the inventory reversal will automatically be done in iVend. Okay. I will take another case. Now the stock transfer was duplicated and somehow the store manager of the receiving store could not detect that, and he received the second stock transfer also. Inventory got doubled in the receiving store. Okay. And it got deducted from the in transit twice. Okay. And also from the originating store. The best approach in order to resolve these kind of issues will be, this kind of issue is the second example, that you create a reciprocal stock transfer, that is from receiving store to originating store. So this will cancel the inventory movement and will create a GR document on the receiving store, from the store where the duplicate stock transfer got originated. So these are the ways. And the third way to correct this issue is through the logs, inventory logs. But when it comes to inventory logs, you need to come to City Access support, because we don't allow anyone to write DML commands in the database, because warranty of the product gets tempered. Okay, so this cover ups this duplicate stock transfer also. Okay. Now the fifth one is again a stock transfer issue. Now this is related to not able to do stock transfer in SAP B1. Now it could be SAP B1 or any other ERP also. Okay. So as I said earlier, when you create a stock transfer, okay, immediately it generates an integration event. If you are running iVend in plugged mode, and if you try to receive a stock transfer in SAP, okay, but the inventory over there is disturbed, then even in the ERP, you won't be able to receive the stock transfer. So in this case, okay, you will have to go for an inventory matching exercise with City Access, in which we will balance out the inventory and we will try and we will engage the customer and help them to get the posted document getting received over there in SAP B1 in this case. So if the stock is not there in SAP B1, what will you do? The best answer is perform a GR over there. The stock will automatically make itself available over there, and they can receive the pending stock transfer in SAP B1 also, okay, or in any other ERP that you want. So this covers this step also. Sorry, this issue also. Okay. The next issue that we covered yesterday was related to the price management. Prices could be missing up at store or at HO or SAP or any other ERP. So there could be multiple reasons that why the correct prices are not getting reflected. The most common source of prices not getting reflected correctly are the POS operators, those who report the issue. So whenever a POS operator or any other store manager who reports the issue that pricing on the POS is not correct, the first thing need to be checked is whether the price list in which the product is mentioned is having a similar price at iVend Enterprise, that is HO and store. If the prices at HO are correct, but the price list at store is having issue or having a wrong price or is having a dated price, then the best thing is to update the price at HO, and that will generate the replication events, and it will update the prices both in at all the stores, and also it will generate an integration event through which you can the ERP will also get updated automatically. The other way around to this issue is that both iVend Enterprise, that is HO, and your stores are having incorrect prices, but your ERP is having the correct price. Uh, Generally, it is a part of best practices uh, that the organizations, those who are using ERPs, they maintain the golden source of data in the ERP itself. So when the price lists are maintained in ERPs, you can just go, in this case, the screenshot clearly shows that you just need to update or click on save button in SAP, and then immediately an integration event flowing data from SAP B1 to iVend Enterprise will update iVend Enterprise, and immediately it will generate replication events that will update all other stores. So it is a complete whole cycle that you update something at ERP side, and through integration it updates iVend Enterprise initially, and through iVend Enterprise all the stores are updated. Now the next uh, let, let, okay, now the next issues related to the prices could be correct special price on iVend POS transaction screen. But the problem statement says a special price list was configured but didn't pick correct price on iVend POS transaction screen. So uh, special prices are nothing but those are for special occasion. Okay, suppose you have a regular price list, but supposedly on 25th December, when the Christmas is celebrated, okay, all around the globe, then you want to apply some special pricing, some special discounts. So you can iVend offers you a flexibility uh, to configure a special price list. So you can just configure a special price list, but in this case, the problem statement says that the special price list was configured but didn't pick correct prices. So there could be multiple reasons. The first one is you need to check the pricing resolution, whether it is resolved to lowest or resolved to highest. I won't go into much more detail because I think these are self-explanatory, that if it is solved to lowest, then it means if set to lowest, then the pricing resolution would go through the complete pricing resolution and it will pick the lowest price, that is the highest discount that is available. But if you select the resolve to highest, then the discount will be on the lowest side. So it depends on the configuration that you have maintained. So again, in this case, we are checking the integration mechanism with SAP B1. So if the SAP B1 shows the correct pricing, but it has not integrated well with the iVend, or the data is not updated in iVend. So you need to check whether use business partner price list for retail. If this checkbox is checked or not in case of special pricing. If it is enabled, or if it is not enabled, then you have to enable it once. Then it will generate integration events through which iVend Enterprise will first get updated, and accordingly it will generate replication events so that stores could be updated. So if it is correctly populated and still price is not getting correctly displayed as per the special price list, then we need to check the special price list between SAP B1 or any other ERP and between iVend. So if you are repeatedly updating the special price list in SAP B1 or any other ERP, but it is not getting integrated into the iVend, then there could be some integration issues. So when it is an integration issue and the data is not getting integrated properly despite all your efforts, then also you need to contact City Access support. But with all these analysis that you have already exhausted all these steps, and then you are reaching the City Access support. So then the support can take from there onwards, uh, and then proceed further with the further investigative steps. Okay, this is already covered if replication is cleared. Okay. Okay. Now the third one is correct price on iVend POS transaction screen. The issue is price list is configured but didn't pick correct price on iVend POS transaction screen. So the initial steps of investigation will be the same as we mentioned in the earlier issue, and then you can basically check in the ERP by selecting that particular product in the particular price list, that what is the price in ERP for that particular product. So in case the price in ERP is correct, then the process will again be the same. You need to update the price in ERP so that uh, integration events could be generated, and then once the data is integrated into the iVend Enterprise, that is HODB, further replication event will also update all other stores and offline POS or any other integration mechanism also. Once the records are integrated to the modified records are integrated into the iVend Enterprise, you can just go to the price list in the management console of Enterprise and open the specific price list and check the particular product if the prices are were correctly updated at the enterprise or not through integration service. So if there is an issue with the integration service, so that is currently out of scope of this document. But whenever there is an integration issue that you are updating something and that particular piece of data is not getting integrated well to the iVend, that is the receiving system, or vice versa, when iVend is transmitting but ERP is not able to receive those integration events, then after you follow all these steps, you need to check with City Access support to further with the investigation that why the data is not getting integrated. Because the integration service in case of SAP B1, or if I speak about other ERPs, those do get connected with the iVend API. All of them, the integration service in regard to SAP B1 is written by City Access only, and the ERPs those consume iVend API for pushing and pulling the data. That API service is also written by City Access only. So we are the product owner for the SAP B1 integration service, and other ERPs those get integrated with the iVend API. And also most recently we have uh, also ventured for um, taken into consideration another ERP that is Sage. And for Microsoft Dynamics Navision also, we have written an integration service. The fourth issue is discount groups based price on iVend post transaction. Okay, so this one. Okay, so in this case also, the initial process will be the same. The way we have just shared information with you in last three issues regarding pricing. The initial investigation will be the same, checking whether the pricing resolution is resolved to lowest or resolved to highest. So it will be the same. So I'm not going to repeat it again and again. The next one is again to check the discount group, select BP code, that is a business partner code in SAP B1. It could be something else in some other ERPs that you need to check on your own. Further to this, you need to check the iVend Enterprise MC first. So I think it will be better if I tell you. So whenever there is a pricing issue, the first thing you need to check is the settings or the price list or special price list and the discount groups between store and HO. Okay, because there could be a case that replication might have skipped, or there might have skipped data due to some network failure or some other issue that we have already taken care of replication skipping in next version of iVend 6.6. But because right now the latest and stable release is iVend 6.5 update 6 patch 2. So I won't go out of context. So I will just remain in this version only that is currently available. But yes, in regard to replication skipping issues, those have been reported in the past. Our product team has enhanced the replication uh, by many folds. So they have spent a lot of effort, and definitely that is going to reap in benefits to the respected partners, customers, and city access at the end. So here, if you see, the step clearly shows if replication is cleared from enterprise MC to store MC, specially price or discount events, check the same on store MC. So these are the steps that you need to perform. That on one side you have opened the MC on iVend Enterprise, and on the other side you are working with the store manager and checking his screen. So if there is a disbalance between iVend Enterprise and store, the best thing to resolve these issues is just perform an update or generate an event over there. Sorry, you won't be able to generate the event manually without help of city access support. But yes, if you are updating, clicking on OK or something cancel button, then it does generate the replication event, and the store automatically gets the updated data. But the replication event will only get generated when there is a change in data. Okay, so this is all same. Okay. The next one again is a pricing issue. Uh, as I said earlier, you have three types of products in iVend. One is the normal, the other one is a batch track, and the third one is a serial track. Okay. So there could be an issue where the batch price of a particular product is getting reflected is uh, is incorrectly getting reflected on the POS terminal. Okay, so in this case also the process will be the same. Go to product screen both at iVend Enterprise and Store. Click on View Inventory and check if the quantity is available or not. Okay. User will request support to enable the parameter serial batch pricing from iVend Enterprise. Now this setting can only be done at the iVend Enterprise Management Console level, not at the store level. You have to enable this option at the iVend Enterprise, then only serial or batch pricing will be available. Once you enable this option at the iVend Enterprise, immediately enterprise events will be generated in the replication. It will not generate integration events because enterprise is purely an entity with iVend retail only. It has nothing to do with any kind of ERP. So it will just perform an update at the uh, to the iVend landscape because that is a piece of setting that will change iVend landscape only. So once you enable that option, and post which you can check whether the specific price list that is having prices of batch track item or serial track item is attached to the store or not. If it is, then it will automatically resolve the issue and you would be able to check the prices over there. Same thing is with SAP B1. In the last 4 or 5 issues, the way I have shared information with you that how the prices are basically maintained in ERP. Same thing applies to batch track item and serial track item. Just open a specific price list and check for that particular batch track item or serial track item and just check the price. If the mismatch persists over there between ERP and iVend, then you just need to perform an update at the ERP level. In case of SAP B1, you can perform a DTW that you can export and then re-import that same file and it will generate all the events back and forth again and again, updating the iVend landscape through through integration first and then from HO to store through replication. Okay, so I will take a few seconds break. I just need a glass of water. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, I'm back again. Okay, now the support guide also shares the information that if a customer is trying to prepare a test environment or a replica of the production, then what are the steps those need to be performed? Because most of the time, uh, customer IT team or partner IT partners uh, face some challenges, and in the past we have seen that they have raised certain support tickets, uh, and CXS support was always ready to help them out uh, to create a replica of the production system, either in the test or some other UAT or QA environment also. So the problem statement says create standalone environment same as production environment. Replica copy for testing on SQL. Uh, Also, please note in this training session, we are only considering the SQL Server as part of our database technology stack. Uh, but more or less, if your customer is having SAP HANA DB, then the steps will be the same. The only difference will be how they restore the HANA DB from production. So that will be a totally somewhat a little bit different exercise, but most of the steps in regard to the iVend will remain same. So prerequisites in this case are pretty simple. You just need to take backup of 4 types of databases. One is the ERP DB. If it is SAP B1, then you have to take SAP B1 DB backup. Then integration. So if you see, check over here, I have just highlighted CXS integration. So this particular database is only gets only created when SAP B1 integration service is installed. Otherwise, for other ERPs, R3 or S4HANA Retail, Sage, or Microsoft Navision, this database will never persist. It is only for SAP B1 that this database will persist or will get created. So the other point to note is that is important to note. Suppose in the test environment, suppose it's a very big landscape, you have somewhere around 30 or 40 stores, and you just want to have 3 or 4 stores in the test environment. So let's say 4 stores. Then one will be the iVend Enterprise backup that you will take. The other one is the CXS integration database that you will take. In this case, it will be SAP B1 DB and 4 other stores DB that you will take from production. So in totality, there will be 7 databases that you will create backup of and restore in the test environment. The latest, when you are taking a backup, ensure that you take backup of all the 7 databases at the same time, so that when you restore in test environment, the less issues you will face in terms of integration and replication, because you would be having a working copy of the production database that is up to the mark. So this is the philosophy that, or you could say that it is part of best practice when you have to create a replica of production system in the test environment. So step one is as simple like installing the iVend application. Step two is restoring the databases. Then step two is having another branch, that is iVend database can be restored on to separate machine. Yes, it can be restored. Then you have to install iVend application on store machines also. Finally, you will connect all the machines through replication service. And finally, you will configure the integration service also. One step that is not mentioned over here, but is of very much use and is part of best practices if you want to follow. Suppose there was a very large landscape, somewhere around 20 stores. Okay, now you cannot restore all the 20 store databases in the test environment. You have taken just 4. So the 4 stores that you have created in the test environment, okay, rest of the stores, okay, just delete it from the management console of enterprise. The reason why I'm telling you this, because if you don't delete those non-operational stores in test environment, they will replication events for those will never get deleted for them, and it will get piled up at iVend Enterprise that will create more systemic problem than resolving any issues that you want to test in test environment. So just take care of that. The 7th step is also very important. That is, you need to deploy the iVend license the way you do in production, and your test environment should be ready. So, okay. Okay. I think I have already mentioned all this. So this is the license administration tool that works the same way when you do the way you do in production. So in test also it's the same. Just launch the license administration tool at iVend Enterprise on the machine where the HO database is present. So rest, you just need to mention your activation ID and the email addresses and blah blah blah, and the license will get activated. If you face challenges with the licenses, then the only option is to drop an email to the licensing team at City Access, and they will look into the licensing issue. So this cover ups. Okay. The third one is standalone test environment. replica of production on HANA. Okay, so if you talk about iVend landscape, that is iVend Enterprise, stores, and replication service, it will remain same the way I have mentioned in the last uh, issue, but the only difference will be the HANA. Okay, so in this case, you have to take a person who is in charge of HANA DB. That particular person at customer IT side or partner or the partner could also be having the expertise, and they can basically implement, take a fresh copy of the HANA DB from the production and restore it on the Linux box in the test environment. Once that restoration is done from the backup received from the production, then configuring the integration service will be the same as it was in the case of SQL Server. The only difference will be in the integration service. You have to select the HANA DB driver. Rest, all other options remain same. Nothing gets changed. Licensing is also same. Okay. So there are some common errors while uh, production system is restored in the test environments. Uh, the first one is the timeout expired or timeout is elapsed. So generally this error comes or occurs when there is a connection break between application and database server. Because this error is coming from the DI API component that has been developed by the SAP organization itself. So we are just using that legacy component. So while interacting with the SAP B1, they have shared the information with us that this type of error generally persists when there is a network disconnectivity between application and database server. The other common error is UM0 not found in iVend. This issue comes when UM was created in SAP and someone deleted that UM in SAP itself, that is the ERP. Now when the document is getting integrated from iVend to SAP, because that particular piece of record is not or data is not available in SAP, that is the reason this error is coming. Same is for the product group, the way it is for UN and okay. Uh, Now this fourth error, that is can't insert duplicate key in integration mapping. So this is an interesting error that will generally surface when you restore uh, database from production to test environment. The mismatch between iVend and SAP for the product group. You need to push the update from SAP for product group and retry the records. So this is a basically general solution that something is not something could be in pipeline in production but could not reach iVend. So in order to correct that, you just need to click on update for a particular product group or a mapping, and it will generate the integration event that will update the receiving system. Once it updates the receiving system, your document will automatically get integrated with the receiving system. So it could be I went to SAP or vice versa or to with any other ERP. But in this case, we are just limiting ourselves to SAP B1 only. In case of other ERPs, how you restore the databases of other ERP is totally a different exercise, but the iVend part at each and every step will be same as in case of SAP B1 or it could be any other ERP also. The next is no matching record. Solution checkpoint is rounding account was not mapped in GL account determination is SAP. So because we would be sharing this guide, so you can just check this issue, check this point later on, because Integration errors could be n numbers. So we have tried to cover in this guide as many as possible. So moving on to the last issue, that is product and customer management, that was part of today's agenda. Okay, so the let's talk about product management first. Okay, or as the screen says, I'm really sorry, I apologize, I misread it. Let's talk about the customer management scan error, not able to resolve. Now the problem statement says, while customer is scanned at POS terminal, system does not recognize it and gives below message, not able to resolve. Now let's see how we can resolve these issues. Okay, not able to resolve. In this case, customer created for iVend do not reach to SAP, or customer created from SAP do not reach to iVend. So it can be vice versa. Please note, whenever I say SAP, don't restrict yourself to the specific ERP. It could be any ERP if iVend is running in plugged mode. Or there could be the scenario that is not mentioned over here, but I will still cover it up. Suppose you have created a customer at a particular store, okay, at another store, or at enterprise only, and it is an unplugged system. But due to some network failure, the replication events could not replicate the data to the store, and you are searching for the same customer code that is available at enterprise but not at store. Okay, so that could also be the issue. So in this case, let's take a plug system that works within ERP. Okay, the first thing you need to check is that whether through MC, management console at store, are you able to search that particular customer or not? Okay, if you are not able to search that particular customer at the store, but you are able to search that particular customer at the HO, then the best thing that you need to do is perform an update on that particular customer, and it will generate the replication events again, and the customer information will flow right from enterprise to the stores, and it will update not only one store that is facing, that has reported the issue, but it will generate replication events for all the stores. And if the data is present over there, it will just skip that part. But if the data is not present, it will perform an insert. At the same time, when you perform a customer update at HO, it will again try to integrate the customer document to the ERP. If the ERP is not having that particular customer code, it will create an entry for that customer code. Otherwise, it will update the entry of the existing customer that they just received from the iVend through integration service. The next thing is search the customer by name and check if duplicate customers are coming or not. This point is required to ensure that customer by chance is not duplicated in iVend system. Okay, the customer code could be different. No, customer code is also different. Sorry for that. You need to check if customer is visible to all stores or not. This can also be a checkpoint that if a store manager is in contact with the other store manager, he can always ask that this particular customer is available at my side, but why it is not available at your side. So you as a partner, you can check multiple systems, like if on a particular store it is not available through NC, you can always check in NC of another store whether it is available or not. So suppose in this case, the way it is highlighted that the customer update is going from iVend to ERP or SAP Business One. So because the customer update is going, but if you see the status over here, the one I have highlighted, it clearly shows that the document has failed. Okay, if the document has failed, and is not getting integrated into the SAP V1, or it could be any other ERP also. So you need to find out the reason that the why customer document is not getting updated with ERP. Okay. If you, in the case of SAP V1, you just need to click here, integration failure monitor, and it will give a very descriptive error that comes from the DI API component of SAP that specifies that what is the reason that the customer document is not getting integrated, because supposedly there happened some post transaction that is done for some registered customer, okay, or for non-registered customer also it could happen, but that customer code is not present in the ERP system. Then as per rules, your sales document or refund documents or any other documents, those require the customer details, will also not get integrated into the ERP or the receiving system. So it just says that customer is not available. It is a descriptive text over here. So check this customer. Okay, this also we have already covered. Now the solution is to update the customer, which would solve the customer showing issue. So this thing we have already covered. Okay, now the product. Okay, just hold on. Okay, the next issue is, I think let's cover the customer first. Okay, another issue is importing customer, but it is not visible to POS on MC. Okay, the problem statement says customer not showing at POS when importing through Excel sheet. So iVend Enterprise and stores also have a feature uh, that is called import and export. Uh, I don't know how many of you are familiar with SQL Server technology or any other database technology, and if you have tried import and export over there, the in similarity to that, the import and export mechanism also works over here. In iVend also, we have an import and export functionality within iVend. So um, if the customer is not showing at POS when it is being imported through Excel, then on the screen you need to check whether is multi-currency is true or not in the Excel sheet through which you imported the customer. So this is the only step you need to check, that if the true is not mentioned over there, instead of this, if the false is mentioned over there, then you need to re-import the sheet again with the true flag. Okay. The next one is if the customer is reporting that there are duplicate customers found in iVend DB. So this is a basic SQL query that we have shared with you. You can either execute the same at enterprise level or at the store level, because it will be the store managers only who will report the issue. So you can just write down, you can just take note of this query that is mentioned in the document in this support guide, and you will be able to easily figure it out how many records are duplicated related to the customer. So okay. There are replication steps that we have given you here. The reason this issue comes, suppose there are two different store locations, store A and B, and in between them the enterprise system exists. Let's say on store A, the store manager creates a customer, and on store B, okay, the store manager again creates the same customer. Okay, both will be having the same document number series. Okay, but the code will be the same. The customer code could be the same, but the primary keys will be different. Uh, to give you a sneak peek, whenever you are working with the ERP, they might work on the document code, but with iVend Retail, yes, we work on the document codes, that is the customer code, transaction code, stock transfer code, request number, the GR request number, or a GI number. So these are our document number series. So yes, we work on the document code as the ERPs work, but internally there is a mechanism within iVend that it generates a unique key also, primary key. Okay, so both the customers, those were created on two different stores, were having the similar details, but the primary keys were different. So internally, the system works on primary keys, but because the details are similar, so this is a pure case where you could say that the customer got duplicated. Customer details got duplicated. So the process is very simple. Just open the customer in edit mode, and you can select any one of the customers, okay, and just mark one of the duplicate customers as inactive. Ideally, uh, if you face such situations, the best thing will be that the record that has been created at a later stage, just mark it as inactive, and the record that was created in the earlier state, that is in ascending order, just keep that particular customer as active. The reason behind this kind of issue, why it surfaced, was because the store A, when it was creating the customer code, okay, the same customer code, the data from that particular store took some time to first replicate to iVend Enterprise, then from iVend Enterprise to another store. Before that data could reach the store B also created the same duplicate customer code. So whenever there is a duplicate customer code, you just need to uh, make one of them or many of them as inactive, keeping the first one as active. So this covers the customer management. Uh, Now I will move to the product management. Okay. Uh, Now let's say there is a particular product that you have created in the ERP. Okay. It is available in ERP, but it is not available in iVend landscape. Sorry. So the best thing will be you can just perform an update to that item master in ERP. Immediately the integration events related to that particular item master, its prices, its other information will flow to iVend Enterprise through integration service or through API, and from there replication events will take care to update all the stores. Another case that the product is not visible at one of the store could be again the replication issue. So always you need to uh, perform a differentiating factor. That first you need to check in the store whether the product is available or not by performing a search in the management console. If it is available, okay, then the next step I will just share with you. But if it is not available, then it is a pure case that it could be some network issue through which the replication could not replicate that piece of data to all the stores or some of the stores which are those were facing the network issue. So the only option is left is to perform an update on that particular product at the management console of enterprise, and that will generate sufficient replication event to update all the stores altogether. When you are performing an update of that particular product, then it will automatically also generate an event to update the ERP also, either through integration service or through ERP. There could be a case that product is available at store and you are able to search that particular product through management console available at the store. The next thing that you need to check whether the product, after clicking on product search, you just need to click on inventory view, and there you need to check whether in that particular warehouse whether the product is logged or not. If it is logged and you are working in a integrated mode or plugged mode with an ERP, you need to unlock that particular product in the ERP. When you unlock that particular product in a particular warehouse in the ERP, immediately integration events will update the enterprise, and enterprise will update all the stores through replication. So I think I have sufficiently covered all the topics. Those were aligned for today. So I would request to take your questions. So please post me any questions that you have so I could answer them. Anyone? Anyone would like to have a question? Okay, I received one. Yes, definitely. I have noted down your email, and after this meeting, after this session is finished, I'm really sorry that you couldn't get the documents yesterday. There is an internal process, and you will definitely receive in next 24 hours. I promise you. You're welcome. Any other question? Any doubt if you have in regard to the presentation, or if you want me to cover up something more in a much more better way? Any comments? Please share it. Okay. I think we are good to go then. Thanks all for joining the session today, and you all have a nice day, and looking forward to all of you for joining the next session aligned for tomorrow. Thanks again for joining today. Thank you.